right. Good afternoon, Newark. My name is Burnell Hall. I am the president and CEO of Invest Newark, the City of Newark's Economic Development Corporation. I also have the pleasure of serving you all as the head of the Newark Land Bank. Today is a very exciting day for all of us, as it is the culmination of a long road towards providing Newarkers with greater access to public properties for great economic and community development projects throughout the city. The Newark Land Bank, as you all know, is the vision of Mayor Ras J. Baraka. He worked on it extremely hard and for a very long time period. And we are very, very appreciative of all the efforts that he, as well as members of the local and state government, put into bringing the state's first land bank into reality. I'd also like to thank the staff at Invest Newark, led by Annette Mohamed, who is the senior vice president of the land bank, for all the work that they did in really preparing us for this launch. So without further ado, I wanted to give the mayor a chance to give some comments, as again, this was his vision that he has worked on for many, many years. He should be joining us shortly. But prior to, I also want to take the opportunity for thanking you all for taking out a time of your day to learn more about the Newark Land Bank. And we also want to encourage you all, as you hear things that you have further questions on, please do not hesitate to type into the chat and or give us comments on Facebook Live so that we can make sure we're as responsible as possible to all your questions, comments, concerns, and suggestions. And lastly, I'd like to thank Ms. Andrea Mason for her great work with the Newark People's Assembly in making sure that Newarkers are always informed with the latest information about community development initiatives such as the Newark Land Bank. That Mayor Baraka has joined us. Again, the land bank is a culmination of his vision and hard work over many, many years. So without further ado, we want to give Mayor Baraka the opportunity to address you all as we head into our land bank. Mayor.
Absolutely. Thank you, Burnell. Good morning. Good afternoon, I should say, everyone. I'm glad to be on this discussion this morning and trying to do multiple things this morning. So you have to forgive us, obviously, trying to finish up with the snow. But, this is very, very important. I want to thank the municipal council, the state legislators, the governor, for all helping make this a reality here in the city of Newark. This is the first land bank in the entire state of New Jersey. We are glad that we stood it up here. We'll have incredible opportunity to get land and property in a more efficient and effective way to residents and to folks who are not speculators or people that are just trying to get in it to flip properties, but folks that are really trying to build and develop here in the city, homeowners that want to get a side lot, want to expand their property, people, first-time home buyers, people who want to purchase property in the city, and developers as well, preferably small, mid-sized developers that are trying to do community development in the neighborhood. This is what this land bank is for, is geared specifically for those folks, and a whole segment of it designed to create more affordable housing, decent affordable housing in the city at the same time. So just glad to have everybody on. Just want to thank Burnell Hall and all of the incredible people over at the Invest Newark, and tell you to keep up the great work. And I know you're going to have an incredible meeting on the Zoom this morning. So Godspeed.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate you making the time. We know that you are managing multiple items, and we really thank you for your great leadership, not only with the land bank, with all that Newarkers are facing during this dynamic time. So without further ado, we'll get into the presentation. I'd like to introduce Annette Mohamed, who is the Senior Vice President of land bank operations for the Newark Land Bank. Annette has over 20 years of experience in property management working with the city, has great knowledge of both conducting municipal transactions as well as working with the community on a number of different real estate projects throughout the years. She's a wealth of knowledge. We're very, very happy to have her, and we're going to support her in every way possible as we roll out this land bank to do many of the things that the mayor had mentioned in as an efficient manner as possible. So without further ado, Ms. Annette Mohamed.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Hall. It is truly my pleasure to serve under the leadership of Mayor Baraka and to be a part of Invest Newark and launching this historic initiative as the first land bank in the state of New Jersey. I would like to also introduce my team members and my colleagues who are very skilled and professional in their areas. With us today will be Roger Johnson, who is the SVP of our real estate development area. We also have Roy Sutherland, who is our Senior Investment Officer, who has a wealth of knowledge on, financing opportunities, and will share that experience and knowledge with you. And last but not least is Romina Pascal, who is the newest member of our team. She's the VP of Land Bank Operations and our Assistant General Counsel. And she also comes to us with a wealth of experience in, municipal transactions and property sales of the kind. And I know Burnell mentioned earlier, Ms. Mason, I would like to thank her as well as being a part of our webinar today, the manager of the People's Assembly, and making sure that the work that's going on and the initiatives that we implement get out clear to the community who most needs them. So without further ado, I'm going to just proceed into our presentation today. The Newark Land Bank was created to address the priorities identified in our community to boost homeownership, reduce blight, create affordable and market rate housing, increase MWDBE developer contractor capacity. The land bank will expand neighborhood business opportunities and increase property values while supporting community goals, improving the quality of life for Newark residents. One of the overarching goals of the land bank is to provide equitable home ownership opportunities. Opportunities like the Pro Newark sale, which allows qualified buyers to purchase, renovate, and occupy land bank property as first-time home buyers, or the move-in ready sale, where the land bank will offer homes for sale that have already been fully renovated by local MWDBE contractors. Then there's the resident advantage sale, which is only open to applicants who are existing Newark residents to purchase a property that's a Pro Newark or move-in ready property. There are plans to continue the Section 8 pilot program, which is near completion, where Section 8 recipients can use their vouchers and down payment assistance to purchase single-family homes. The side lot initiative will allow property owners who have a vacant lot that's next to them that is eligible for a side lot purchase to purchase that property at a nominal fee and increase their yard space by installing a driveway, adding addition to their home, or whatever the zoning laws deem permissible. Other opportunities include a request for proposals where qualified bidders will be able to purchase property, submit a bid to purchase property, and once they show that they can timely renovate and develop the property. Again, with the idea of creating affordable home ownership. Property for larger scale development and business expansion will be the economic engines that drive neighborhood vibrancy. And let's not forget about our nonprofit community partners who can acquire land bank property to continue furthering the city's plans, goals, and initiatives for building sustainable neighborhoods and providing impactful wraparound services. Purchasing land bank property is designed to be a transparent and efficient process. To be an educated consumer, you should first review our website and familiarize yourself with the sale policies, procedures, and the available properties. You may register and create an account to purchase a property and to stay engaged with land bank activities. To apply for a property, you would complete and submit an application along with a $50 non-refundable application fee. In order to qualify, a background check is performed and your application information is verified. Qualified applicants are then scheduled for an appointment to inspect the property before submitting a formal offer. Your offer must be submitted with a scope of work and verifiable financing. If your offer is selected, you will be provided with a purchase agreement. Once you receive the purchase agreement and sign it, an earnest money deposit must be returned to our office within a certain amount of time. Our staff will then draft a quitclaim deed and arrange for closing. It is important to note that sales must close within 90 days from the offer acceptance date, and that unsubstantiated delays subject to sale cancellation and deposit forfeiture. The sale process is also laid out in a tutorial video located on the homepage of our website. Like most kinds of sales, there are terms and conditions or rules to purchasing land bank property. Potential buyers will be individuals or families demonstrating the ability to purchase, rehabilitate, and occupy homes for a specific amount of time. For Newark residents, there are opportunities only for Newark residents under the Resident Advantage sale. Experienced and qualified developers, partnerships, or investors committed to equitable economic growth and efficient development, businesses that will own and occupy commercial properties, and qualified nonprofit community partners. Any potential buyer cannot have unremediated code violations, delinquent tax payments to the City of Newark, properties that were transferred to the City of Newark as a result of interim foreclosure, or any currently stalled development projects. Additional terms of our sales include applications and purchase agreements that require a fee and an earnest money deposit respectively. Not more than 10 properties conveyed in a single transaction, subject to the specific terms and conditions set forth in each sale program or RFP. That closings take place no later than 90 days from the date that your offer is accepted. Deeds that will be held in escrow or impose a deed restriction to ensure that buyers uphold their commitment to the sale process, the terms agreements of each sale. The Newark Land Bank will reserve the right to repossess or revert any non-compliant or stalled projects. The entire inventory of these land bank properties will be made available on our website, which I will be getting to momentarily. Now, some people may be concerned, how is the land bank going to operate on the up and up, so to speak? But be assured that the following checks and balances are entrenched in our policies and guidelines. The Invest Newark staff will administer land bank operations, including acquisition and disposition programs. The Invest Newark Board of Directors, consisting of public and private civic leaders, economic and real estate development professionals, will provide oversight to the land bank. KPIs, or key performance indicators, will be reported to the Newark City Council at least quarterly. The land bank will also establish a community advisory board consisting of individuals that are members of community associations and nonprofit organizations to provide value input into the land bank programs on an ongoing basis. If you are one of these individuals and you are interested in becoming a member of the Community Advisory Board, please email us at nlbinfo@investnewark.org. The most essential component to bring everything that I've discussed together is the land bank comprehensive website. The website will list current and former property inventory, policies and procedures, a record of acquisition and disposition activities, and how-to tutorials, in addition to the strategic plan that will be conducted annually, as well as the fiscal reports as required by law. I will take a moment and share my screen just to take you through a few functions of the land bank. Now, before I start, I would just like to note and reiterate that the land bank website is not yet live. It will become live once the land bank launches in January of 2021. This first initial page that you're looking at here is the home screen of the land bank. It has tabs identifying how to purchase a property, what programs are available, news and events, resources, and how to contact us. Initially, when you come onto the Land Bank's website, you'll want to register to become a member. That entails providing your email address and contact information. You'll then receive a welcome verification email, and then you'll be good to go. As a registered member, you'll be able to view your bidding history, manage the properties that you're interested in, and send us any supporting documentation that might be required. On the website will also be a tutorial video on how to register and address any other questions that you might have. This is below here in the center of your page is where our videos will be hosted. There's a video from myself telling you all about the residential sale process and how to become a first-time home buyer with the Newark Land Bank. A video from my colleague, Roger Johnson, explaining the 1, 2, 3s of submitting a development proposal, as well as a few videos from my colleague, Roy Sutherland, telling you about financing opportunities for small developers, FHA funding, and just general lending resources. These specific tabs will allow you to go directly to a program page. But before you do that, if you don't know what kind of property that you're interested in and you just want to look at a list of all the properties, you can view them on a map where it has map view. When you click on the map view, it's going to take you to a screen that will show you where properties are located, as with this little icon here. It'll tell you whether or not the property is located in the University Heights neighborhood. It'll tell you whether or not that property is located in an opportunity zone, and where are the historic districts within the city. Once you've identified a property that you would like and you select that property, it's going to take you to a specific page. And on that specific page, it will tell you general information about the property. If it's a move-in ready property, it's going to tell you how much money was spent in the rehab cost of the property. It'll allow you to submit an application. It'll give you information about how many bedrooms and bathrooms are in the property. It'll let you know what ward it's located in. There also will be photos, interior, exterior photos of the property. There's information as to the sale price. And just like with sites like Trulia or Zillow, there's information contained about the walking score of the property, things about the neighborhood, where it's located, what restaurants are around, in addition to what schools, transportation, and just general demographics for the area. The property page also contains a payment calculator that will help you determine how much your mortgage may be if you put in key information. If you decide to submit an application for a property, and you're actually on one of the sale pages, this is a sale page. So where I discussed that there's different programs like available to you, this is the sale page that identifies them. This here is specifically for the side lot sale. It gives you a little general information about what the sale is and how to apply, who you must be to apply for the property, and what is the necessary steps. It'll give you an opportunity to view the list of available properties by clicking on View List of Properties. And again, if you choose a parcel, it will take you back specifically to the demographics for that property, as with that I just showed you the sample of the move-in ready. If each property page will also give you an opportunity to submit an application. And here you would just submit for your application. Please note that you must be registered and logged onto the site in order to submit an application. And you would just answer some basic information, questions that you have reviewed the terms and conditions of the sale so that you are an educated consumer. And it also says that, yes, I'm agreeing to the terms and conditions of sale. You would just complete an electronic signature and submit. So once that certification is submitted, it's sent over to us to become part of your file, and it's also available sent to you so that you'll have it for your future reference. At that point, you're taken right into the sale application. It gives you some information, important notes about what the sale requirements are, the rules, the regulations, terms and conditions, how to apply, and what the general cost is. Then you would just complete the application with your name. It will populate information from your registered account, answer some questions, and when you get to the bottom, it asks you again to attest to certain information, provide an electronic signature. Now, if you are required to submit photos showing that you are the homeowner for the contiguous property, a picture of the property that you want to, showing its relation to your house, you would upload any required documents here in this portion of the screen. Now, you will not be able to submit this application until you pay the $50 application fee. I just want to take you back to the main screen and just go over a few of the tabs with you. Again, we have, if you don't know what kind of property, or the residential sales are not the only opportunities that the land bank has. And if you select purchase a property, it will take you to a screen that will say, hey, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And so it'll tell you a brief overview about each one, and then you can select which one that you would like to go into. Other tabs on the website include an ability to, for the programs, it'll list each program. Under the specialized programs like the Section 8 program that I mentioned earlier, where Section 8 qualified Section 8 voucher recipients can utilize their vouchers to purchase a first-time property, will be located here, as well as information about special properties that are available to our community partners, furthering the goals of the city. And our news and events tab will contain public notices such as tonight's meeting, when there are community meetings, when the community advisory board that I spoke of earlier also meets. Our resources tab is very important because it tells you where to find all of the information that you might need. It gives you tells you where to find the policies and procedures. It tells you where to find the applications and the forms. It also tells you where you can find resources to help you pay for your projects. The City of Newark has a Live Newark program that offers down payment and assisting costs. So there will be a link on this tab here to take you to that page so that you can apply for the city's Live Newark program. And under our More tab is where you'll find frequently asked questions. So all the questions that we go get through our community meetings and so on and so forth, we'll compile those and put a list of frequently asked questions so that you can get the information that you need. Another key listing on the More tab is how to report a property. If there's a vacant and blighted property that you see and you're interested in it, or if you're not interested in it and you just want to report it because someone needs to do something about it, there will be that option on our website where that you can report a property. Just give us your name and your information. Tell us as much as you know about the property so that we can go back and address it. And finally, I just want to bring you to our contacts tab that, during, this COVID pandemic and, everyone's social distancing, our physical offices are not open, but everything will be done through our website. And so we ask that you email us your questions, your concerns, your suggestions, just any information you want to know. You can either submit this form through our contacts tab, or you can just email us directly at nlbinfo@investnewark.org. Thank you, Vanessa. I think I have to stop sharing. So at this point, that completes my presentation on an overview of the programs and the website. And I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Hall.
Thank you, Annette. Fabulous job. I am sure that our great residents got a ton of information, but also I'm sure that that presentation sparked a lot of questions and comments. We see some questions in the Q&A box. But before we turn this over to Andrea Mason from the Newark People's Assembly to moderate the Q&A, I did want to clarify a concern or an answer to a question that came up that we wanted to make sure people got the right information on. So the question from the last meeting was with regard to the background check process. And the question specifically was whether or not the background check precluded someone that had a prior criminal record from buying properties for the land bank. And the answer is no. We're doing the background check solely to make sure that we identify the social security number and the employment identification number of the LLC that is purchasing property from the land bank with the appropriate party. We just want to make sure that the information submitted via the registration is accurate. We actually encourage all Newark residents that have the ability and the desire to purchase property from the land bank to register and to make strides, whether it be contacting us, whether it be going through one of the various programs as offered by the city and or Invest Newark, to prepare themselves to take advantage of the opportunities that will be created via the launch of the land bank. So I just want to clarify that point. Our background check is specifically to verify that the information submitted to the land bank is accurate. It does not preclude anyone with a prior criminal record from purchasing a property from the land bank. The rules as it relates to who are qualifying buyers are on your screen, and that will shape the policy going forward, unless there is changes made by the Community Advisory Board and or our Board of Directors at some point in the future. Hopefully that clarifies this point, and we're happy to take questions on this as well as any other questions you may have at this time. So without further ado, we will turn it over to Andrea Mason, who is the esteemed head of Newark People's Assembly, to moderate the question and answer portion of tonight's presentation. Thank you. Andrea?
Thank you, Mr. Hall. That's awesome. I enjoyed that introduction. So luckily, many of the people, it seems, attended the first information session. So we don't have as many questions, but I'm sure as time goes on and the conversation materializes, we'll get more questions. But right now we have about 11 in the Q&A module, so I will get started. So the first is there anything we can do ahead of the site launching to get registered to help expedite the process?
Thank you, Andrea, for that question. Believe it or not, the land bank process is already an expedited process. Um, it's what I would encourage people to do is to visit our website, provide their information, their email address, so that they're aware of the information as we present it. We'll probably be ad nauseum a little bit, making sure that before we actually launch the land bank, that everyone has all of the information that's required. If anything I had to say that people should do or recommend that people do, those individuals that are looking to become first-time home buyers, I would recommend that they, just kind of, start talking to maybe some lending professionals that can, advise them as to, how much home that they can afford. I would advise them to maybe seek out some community nonprofits that offers first-time home buying assistance and seminars and that sort of thing, just so that they're prepared once we actually launch to proceed with, our process.
Perfect. And will first-time home buyer programs work with these homes? And is a realtor needed to purchase these homes, or simply get a lawyer or an inspector?
So first-time home buyers would qualify for these properties. As I mentioned, we have a few different avenues because in creating the land bank and creating the opportunities, we wanted to make sure that we had something for everyone. A realtor is not necessarily required. We strongly encourage and suggest that people obtain an attorney with something that's such a huge undertaking as, buying a property. And I think there was one more portion to that question.
Actually, I dismissed it already. So
that's okay.
I apologize. I don't remember as I'm reading all these other questions that are coming in.
I'm gonna chime in on this. I believe the last piece was about having a property inspector.
Yes.
The
It
answer
was
to that,
can you just have an attorney and a property inspector?
yeah. So we strongly recommend that buyers have attorneys, because as Annette said, buying properties are very, very, very important financial decisions that have such great impact that you should definitely obtain legal counsel as you move forward in a decision such as that one. In terms of property inspection, it really is going to depend on the program. For the move-in ready program, where there has already been work done, we recommend that people obtain property inspectors. But on some of the programs, such as the side lot sale or the as is initiative, where people will be doing the work themselves, it's probably not necessary to have a property inspector. So it really is sort of program dependent.
Okay, appreciate that. Are the side lots only able to be used for those intended uses as an extension of property, or can it be used for development of another property?
So the side lots, the properties that are qualified for the side lot sales will only be able to be used as a side lot. There are a bunch of properties throughout the city that are adjacent to property owners that have been caring for them for multiple years, and the city has an adopt a lot program, but by an extension of that, some of the property owners would like to purchase those properties. So the side lot sale gives them an opportunity. There will be other properties in the offered in there will be other vacant lots offered for people looking to develop properties. But the side lot sales, you can develop as much as the city will allow you to. There are zoning laws that say, what you can and cannot do for each specific property that must be adhered to.
Appreciate it. And I do have a question about the Community Advisory Board. So this listener wants to know what's the estimated hours or time of commitment for members in the group, because it does say that the advisory board members are intended to attend community meetings and functions. So do you have an estimated amount of time? What's the commitment?
I don't have a estimated amount of time. You can attend a meeting that may be an hour. You can attend a meeting that might be 2 hours. I just ask that, anyone that's looking to become a community advisory board member, just make sure that they have the time to commit to helping the city and the land bank, get to reach its goals. So we can't really say how long it will be. It's going to vary, and we are asking a lot of our community advisory board. We're asking our community advisory board to meet. We're asking them to give us, feedback on policies, because we may have not, while we try to cover everything, we may have not, thought of something that someone else out there in the community may have. We're asking them to provide us feedback from any other community meetings that they have attended, as well as the initiatives being put out by the land bank, spread them out into the community as well.
Doing that, I just want to add a little to that. I do think that, looking at other models from other cities, the community advisory boards will probably meet pretty frequently early on, once or twice a month, as we work out the kinks via the initial launch and initial batch of properties going through these programs. Because they are the liaison from the community back to us to let us know how well things are going and where we may need to make changes in some of our initial policies and programs. On the flip side, we will be supporting the community advisory board with staff capacity, as well as some level of budget, so that if there's a report that needs to be done and or some sort of legal counsel that needs to be done or administrative work, we have people on staff that can support the community advisory board as it helps us bring about the best land bank that we can bring about.
Great. And while we're still speaking about the community advisory board, are the board members eligible to participate in the purchase of land?
So, yes. However,
Big butt.
being a community advisory board doesn't preclude you from purchasing property. We just want to make sure things are as transparent as possible. So you'll find in our certifications, you're asked, do you have any conflict? Even if you're not sure if it's a conflict, or that you're interested in purchasing a property, or that your cousin or your mom might be doing, or something like that, just let us know, so that when there's no gotcha moments. And so when we're evaluating applications, people that serve in a capacity or may have a relative that's on the community advisory board, or a relative that maybe works for the agency or city or something like that, we will be taking those sales to give a second look, and the Invest Newark Board of Directors will also be evaluating those applications as well.
Okay, that's good to know. Next question is, how much assistance do you provide to budding local developers who would like to invest and help to develop their home city, but don't have as deep pockets like the existing development companies?
Well, I'm going to actually turn that question over to my colleague Roy, and Roger, you can probably chime in there as well in terms of assistance with the contractors and what's needed to apply, and Roy, any financing that may be available.
Want to go first?
Yeah, I'll let Roy take this.
Oh, well, yeah, mine is pretty simple. What we do at Invest Newark is we try to guide new developers, up and coming developers, to various sources, whether it's community development, financial institutions, or even Invest Newark. We do have some lending capacity as well. So what we do is we evaluate where you are as a company, and kind of advise you and provide you with some type of assistance in how to move forward. So the short answer is yes, we do have some mechanisms of assistance to assist new developers that are trying to do development in Newark.
And I'll just, before Roger chimes in on the construction management help, we also recommend that people look at the city's program. There are programs for new developers, the neighborhood development program, there's community block grants. There are programs that are already in place that is really targeting early stage developers so that people can build up the type of track record and experience necessary to take on ever increasing size projects. So, you know, we definitely want to refer people to all of the resources that we are aware of, as well as have access to. But I want to highlight, because it's been a very successful program for several developers in the city, the neighborhood development program that is run out of the city's Economic and Housing Development Department, or EHD. Roger?
Yes, so we definitely are going to be looking to partner with and help local contractors, MWBEs, work with the land bank. For one, you know, we're going to have a pre-qualification form that is going to be posted to our site as well, where we're going to ask, a few questions, a few pages of questions that you have to fill out, so that way you can be added to our database. And when we get to a point where we are releasing RFPs for different JV opportunities or development projects, you'll be privy to those and we'll be able to respond to those. We also are going to work with developers that are starting off to help them through the process of, going through the permitting process, just making sure that you're doing, going through the process correctly, so that way you can finish the project and, basically, end the project and, sell it if that's your end goal, or if you're going to keep the property as an investment property.
That's fair. What's come up quite often on this news feed is, are non-Newark residents able to purchase from the land bank?
That's a great question, Andrea. Everybody's welcome to purchase from the land bank. We have programs for Newark residents and non-Newark residents alike. I just want to note, though, that the residential properties that we are selling, for home ownership, are geared toward first-time home buyers. Now, the Pro Newark sale, which is a fixer-upper property that you purchase and you renovate and you have to live in for a specific period of time, as well as the move-in ready sale, they're open to Newark residents as well as non-Newark residents who want to become a Newark resident. The Resident Advantage sale is the only sale that is open exclusively to existing Newark applicants. And as a Resident Advantage, Newark residents can purchase a property that's a fixer-upper or a move-in ready.
Thank you. So at this time, can you just share that contact information? There was a web address that we typically share for people to contact Invest Newark, and also the website for people to access the land bank once it's live.
So you'll be able to access the land bank website once it's launched and once it's live through our website, www.investnewark.org/landbank. There will be a land bank tab right on the Invest Newark website. And all inquiries should be sent to our email at nlbinfo@investnewark.org.
I love it. We're getting right through these questions, and they are popping up as I imagined. They started off slow, but now there's several in the queue. Next one is, will properties that need to be rehabbed be sold as is?
Yes, well, we have both. We have properties, the Pro Newark properties will be sold as is. They will require you to inspect the property with your contractor, decide whether or not you want to submit a formal offer for it. When you submit an offer for it, you should have a full scope of work as well as financing. And we'll give you an idea of the scope of work that's required for these properties. You put that together, so you should have financing that covers the cost of the property as well as the rehab costs.
And what about liens? Are these, are these properties that are being purchased through the land bank free of liens?
Yes, they're free of liens. I know that there's some concern about, the city water liens or demolition lien or something like that that may be on the property, but the new owner will not be responsible for those liens.
That's good news. That's
free and clear, free and clear.
Right, because people, when they think as is, it's like, okay, as is in the condition and as is with everything else that comes with it. So that's a little good news.
Mm-hmm.
All right, is there a current property inventory available for review?
No, there's not. The property inventory will be available when we launch in January.
Okay. Simple enough. And approximately how many homes will be offered for purchase? So homes, and then I guess when I think homes, I think one family versus multi-units. So let me rephrase the question, unless you can tell if you know the actual inventory now. Approximately how many properties will be available when we launch?
So we're currently compiling the inventory. Right now, the land bank will get its inventory from the city of Newark. It will be a mixed inventory. It'll be an inventory of residential structures, some single family, some multifamilies. There may be some commercial properties. There will be vacant lots that are buildable. Will be vacant lots that are undersized. So once we get the inventory, what we'll do is that we'll inspect them to find out, exactly what we have, and then we'll categorize them in terms of sale opportunities. So this bucket of, residential properties will be available for Newark residents under resident advantage property. This bucket of properties will be available under Pro Newark that allows anybody to purchase, that can purchase in rehab. Or someone that's looking to develop, there'll be vacant lots as well.
I want to add a little bit to that because I just want to address what may be underlining the question, which is scarcity. The land bank will continually receive properties from the city. As you all know better than most of us, there's a fair amount of blighted properties from the cities. So there will be a significant amount of inventory over time that is transferred to the land bank and available for purchase from the community. So the first wave doesn't necessarily dictate how many of a certain type of properties will be available on an ongoing basis. The land bank is, not going to be, a one-time thing or over certain years. It's going to be over a period of years with a ever-changing inventory that is going to create an ongoing number of opportunities for purchase for Newark residents and beyond.
And there are a few people actually sending you praises for having this opportunity and just the information being shared. And one person in particular wants to know if this information is going to be available after the presentation is over.
Yeah, Annette and our Senior Vice President of Business Development, Vanessa Quijano, who is the person behind the scenes driving the presentation and the Zoom, have done a wonderful job of creating a tutorial video of all Invest Newark presentations. And this, as well as all other community meetings when presentations, will be listed on an Invest Newark YouTube channel, as well as accessible through our website. So if you weren't able or a friend was not able to attend tonight, this entire presentation will be loaded onto our website and the Invest Newark YouTube channel for you to look at anytime you want to going forward.
So will it be available immediately after we finish, or will it take a day or two?
It takes a day or two to edit the videos, but they will absolutely be there once that's done in the next 2 business days.
Great. That's a great answer. There's also a few questions that are the same, so I can appreciate people wanting to know the same type of information. Are there income restrictions?
So are there income restrictions? And I don't know if you mean
Of the buyer.
But,
The buyer, does the buyer have to make a certain amount of money in order to qualify?
no, the buyer doesn't have to make a certain amount of money. And this would be a perfect opportunity to just clarify a point that the highest bid is not always the best bid. And so property, applications and offers are going to be evaluated, and they're going to, the person with the best bid is going maybe selected to be awarded the property. And then they will have to follow the terms, the conditions, the timelines, and that sort of thing. So there aren't income restrictions, but I don't want people to feel like, just the people with the deep pockets can come along and scoop up the properties. That's not going to happen.
Great, that's reassuring, because I think that is the underlying concern of many Newark residents. Why is it to our advantage, or what makes the land bank Newarkers' advantage when we may not have as much money as others? So I appreciate you saying that. Will there be deed restrictions on the move-in ready properties?
I would like to say absolutely. All of our properties will have a deed restriction, because we want to ensure that people aren't just, telling us what we want to hear to get the property and then, using it for however they want to use it. So the move-in ready property will require you to be a first-time home buyer, and it will require you to live in the property for a specific amount of time.
So I'm scrolling down and I see that there is another question about the board. So can you just give the information if somebody is interested in getting more information about the board, where the community advisory board, where will they get that information, like the criteria for it?
So if someone is interested and they are a part of a neighborhood organization or a part of a nonprofit, what they can do is email us at nlbinfo@investnewark.org, and we will send them the application and the policy, so that having the policy kind of like allows them to understand what's going to be expected of them, and then the application. And then their application will be presented to a selection committee that will review it and ensure that they fit the criteria to be a member of the board. But their initial interest, they can just simply send us an email at nlbinfo@investnewark.org.
Yes. NLB, which is Newark Land Bank info @investnewark.org.
Yes.
The next question is, if an LLC purchases a rehab property, will it be required that the purchaser live in it, or will it be okay to resell the property once we are able to?
So an LLC can't be a first-time home buyer. So the residential properties are being offered to first-time home buyers. And as such, each of the sale programs, the Pro Newark, the Move-In Ready, and the Resident Advantage, will require that the person purchasing the property resides in the property as their principal place of residence. So as an LLC, you can't purchase a residential property, rehab it, and then sell it. An LLC can purchase a vacant lot and build us an affordable house, though.
Hey, take notes, developers, take notes. So will there be opportunities for those interested to get access to financial assistance for homes or development?
Roy?
Absolutely. We hope that folks that have those types of questions come down to Invest North to find out more about the various opportunities. There are several, whether it's through the city, through the state, or even federal government. So by all means, reach out to us and we will be happy to gear you towards, direct you towards those opportunities.
So I thought I remember Ms. Mohammed saying that the offices were closed due to COVID. Maybe I misunderstood. So are you actually open by appointment? Because I know you said come on down. So I'm a little, I just got
I'm sorry.
confused.
I just mean that you can reach out to us, whether it's through phone or email. We are definitely taking appointments through those mechanisms. So no, don't
All
come
right,
to
Mr.
the office.
Sutherland, you're trying to confuse us.
Do not come to the office, but by all means, yes, reach out to us and we will respond, and we respond within 24 to 48 hours. So by all means, reach out to us so we can direct you to where those opportunities are.
Okay, appreciate it. So it was mentioned that the Newark Land Bank will reclaim the land if development is stalled. Usually a design or development may take months to years. So would the Newark Land Bank just keep track of the progress? Like who's responsible for that?
So this is a great question, because this is really one of the key attributes of the land bank, and also one of the main purposes for the land bank. We are really focused on helping to eradicate blight in the city as an efficient and effective way as possible. One of the keys to that, and one of the major reasons why your scope of work in many cases is more important than the acquisition price that is offered, is because we really want people to take on projects that they can build on time and on budget for the benefit of the city. What we do not want is a situation where a project is sold, we are given milestones via a scope of work and a budget, and those milestones are consistently unmet, because in that scenario, we are actually recreating the problem that the land bank was created to fix, which is blight and stall projects. So what we really are emphasizing in these conversations with would-be developers is that it is very important to establish an experienced team, to be very keen on your scope of work and your financing, because the ideal here is that once your offer is accepted and your scope of work is improved, we're really focused on holding people accountable for keeping things going on time and on budget. Now, we understand that there are delays, but even in those scenarios, we want to make sure there, as Annette says in the presentation, substantiated delays that can be mitigated so that the project can be done as close to the schedule as possible. Because again, the ideal here is to eradicate blight while creating economic development and community benefit opportunities such as home ownership, neighborhood business development, and the like. But we'll retain the right to retake the property if the project becomes stalled and there's no mitigating procedure in place to get back on track to execute the development as close and in according to the original schedule as possible.
Understood, totally understandable. So you mentioned something about developers, and there's a direct question for Roy and Roger, if they're available to take calls for developers to understand where their particular skills or where they may best serve the land bank. So it's a little selfish question, but nonetheless, it's a question.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. As Roy said, don't come on down, but our phones are available, emails. You can email NLB Land Bank website, Land Bank email address, and reach out to us through that means as well.
So reach out to them by email, not phone, and it is open for all developers to do that. Reach out to them via email, not phone, preferred. And the email address is N as in Newark, L as in land, B as in bank, info@investnewark.org. So next question, are all types of properties included in this program, single family condos, multifamily, multi-use? You did mention something about that, Annette.
Yes. So, whatever we get, y'all got. So if we're getting vacant lots, we're getting, commercial, if we get anything industrial, after we take property into our inventory, inspect it, do our due diligence so that we can offer it, to the public. But it will be listed, all our property will be listed on our website.
Okay, great. Someone is saying, thanks so much for preparing this webinar. Is there a limit of how many properties an investor can acquire?
So I'm going to let our president and CEO answer that question.
Yeah, the policy is that one purchaser cannot buy more than 10 properties in a single transaction. And any exception to that policy is subject to a special meeting from our board and community advisory board. Policy is that no single purchaser can buy more than 10 properties at one time.
Simple enough. Can an existing structure be raised or demolished and a new one erected?
So that's a good question. Because what I found in my experience is that, you don't know sometimes what you're getting into when you purchase a structure. You might, looks one way on the outside and you open the door and the roof is meeting you at the front door. I would say that we would know those things beforehand, whether or not the property needs to be demolished before we offer it out. I don't imagine that a first-time home buyer would be demolishing and raising a property. So if that would be their plan or what they would be interested in doing, that would need to be included in their full scope of work for the property, and a timeline to match that scope of work and the financing to support it all.
Okay, so now this is a little harder question, or maybe not. Who or how are the properties being designated to the different programs?
Uh-huh.
Make you think.
So some properties by nature of, what they are. Of course, we want to make sure that our Newark residents have an equal opportunity to purchase as many properties as our non-Newark residents. So vacant lots that are listed on our corridor, we're going to require, maybe do an RFP for, because we're concerned about what's identified on the corridors coming in and out the city. Some lots that we'll receive into our inventory will be non-buildable. And so it makes sense for them to be a contiguous owner, because I'm sure, that you've seen around the city where a house might be squished on a little lot between two other houses and you don't know that you pass it until like you do. So the experience of the team and the professionals and my colleagues, we will evaluate each property as they come into our inventory. And like I said, use our skill and expertise from Roger, our SVP of real estate, who's also an architect, as well as Roy and his vast knowledge of, what makes sense in terms of financing, Mr. Hall as well. And, I've been doing this for a long time.
So this actually is a good question. As I'm reading it, I'm like, I wonder. So can you purchase a commercial property as a Newark resident with a business partner who's a non-Newark resident? Look, we're all like,
So a property that will fall under, in the commercial category, is not necessarily specific to just Newark residents. So yes, you can have a mixed team of, from different locales that are interested in developing a business here with one of our commercial properties, or expanding, their existing business with one of our commercial properties. And Brunel, would you like to expand upon that a little bit?
Yeah, if it's in the case of a program that is specific to Newark residents, then obviously the preference is that the majority owner of the business is a Newark resident. If it's not, if it's a commercial property and there's an RFP, then that factor is not going to be a binary one in terms of the decision to sell the property to the team.
Okay, I'm going to take a step back a little bit. So we've already discussed why land banking is important, and how it can be to Newark residents' advantage. So people, of course, want to make sure, and I just mentioned this a little while ago, that the developers or the people with the deeper pockets, so to speak, don't come in and buy up majority of the stuff, or 5 people don't buy 10 things each, and now that's 50 properties gone. So realistically, are the properties going to be affordable for Newark residents?
So I'm going to let Brunel expound upon that as well, but I just want to reiterate what it is that he said about the background check. The background check is designed to prevent that. The background check is going to tell us that Andrea Mason is a part of 3 different companies. It's going to track your business EIN number, your social security number. You'll be able to see how many properties that you've purchased or that you submitted bids on through your registered account, as well as us. So we don't mind if, Andrea has come and she's purchased 10 properties over the last 10 months and, she's developed them and got them going. Our goal is to get the blighted properties redeveloped efficiently, affordably, and you can come back to the well, and get more. But the background check is designed to make sure that the information that people are submitting in their application will be verified. We will be contacting the code enforcement office and find out if you own 3 properties in the city of Newark with code violations, what your tax situation is. And the background check will also allow us to make sure that you do just own 3 properties and that you don't own 10. So we'll be looking into making sure that we weed out, to the best of our very ability, the bad actors.
Okay, and did I hear you correctly that the website will go live mid-January, mid to late January?
That's the date that we're shooting for. So I encourage everyone, the information will be posted on the Invest Newark website to periodically, check back. And once you sign up, and I'm sorry, I just want to say, once you sign up for the community meetings, we'll have your email address. And when we do launch, we'll be sending out an email blast as well.
I love all of the kudo messages. Just, thanks for the information, great teamwork. I appreciate everybody for participating and listening and sending these questions, because if not for you, we would not be here. So thank you. So when will, another question about the site launching, will most of the properties be in need of renovation?
Because we don't have our inventory yet, I don't want to say that there's a percentage of this and there's a percentage of that. We'll probably start out in full transparency, though, with a limited amount of residential properties. They will mostly likely be vacant lots. Anyone that has tried to purchase a property from the city or has seen the city's list of inventory, you'll know that it's primarily vacant lots. So that's what it'll be. But everything will be fully transparent and listed, and it'll tell you what sale kind of process that the property is involved in.
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit to that, because to Annette's point, we don't have a definitive set of properties yet. That list is actually being put together now. I will say this, given that one of our key goals is to eradicate blight, The short answer, without having the specific properties in tow yet, is yes. There will need to be some work done, even if it's just, cutting the grass and landscaping the side lot, or doing cosmetic work to a residential property, or full-scale redevelopment of a commercial property, because the nature of these properties are properties that are abandoned, blighted, and not currently on the tax roll, which generally indicates properties that are not currently in use, which predicates having to do some work to bring them back to reuse. So while we don't have a specific inventory to give a very, very accurate answer to that question, the assumption should be yes, most properties will require some work to be done.
So I just want to add that you may have confused some people, only because we know that the move-in ready homes are actually move-in ready and they don't require any renovating, correct?
Right. They will, but that work will be done by MWBE developers and Invest Newark. The end user will buy a property that is, close to new and completely renovated. But that just means that the work that has been done will be done prior to the purchase.
Thank you for the clarity. I know somebody was gonna write that question, so I beat them to it.
Sorry about that.
Just for another clarity question, first-time home buyers, by definition, is that someone who has never owned before, or someone who no longer owns, doesn't own currently?
So by definition, and correct me if I'm wrong, Roy, that HUD identifies a first-time home buyer as if you haven't owned a property in the last 3 years. And so because we want to widen our net, I believe our policies, our draft policies, I should say, makes that number 5 years.
Very correct.
So for all intents and purposes, for the land bank, first-time homeowner is someone who hasn't owned in the past 5 years.
Yes.
Okay, just making my notes. And can someone utilize NACA assistance along with the services of the land bank? And for those of us who do not know what NACA is, can you tell us?
Roy?
Yeah, I wish I knew it off the top of the hand. It's National Association for Community Assistance, I believe, or Citizens Assistance, but people just call it NACA for short. And they are a national organization that pretty much aligns people with great opportunities to home ownership. They are working very diligently with our folks in the Section 8 program as we speak. So the short answer is yes, you can absolutely use NACA services to take advantage of these homes.
I'm gonna give the assist to my partner. NACA's acronym stands for Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Oh, wow. That was totally different.
And
So,
Andrea, I just want to say that we'll have that information in terms of like available, resources, just providing some information to people on the website under our resources tab, any, organizations that, a list of organizations that maybe people can reach out to.
okay, that's great. And so if you're a timeshare owner, does that negate you from being a first-time home buyer? Because timeshares are a little different. Maybe. Yes. Hopefully.
That's a very good question. And unfortunately, our attorney is not here, so I'm going to turn it back over to Burnell.
Yeah, I think we would need to check with the because we really kind of use HUD regulations as our guide on what the definition is. So we need to check back on that, and then we would supply an answer to that in the FAQ immediately following this session.
Okay, do appreciate it.
We'll have to come back to you on that one.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
That was a great question.
Yes. I was too busy smiling and laughing. I didn't get my next question ready. So this person says they're not sure if it was already covered, but if a vacant lot is not listed and they're in close proximity to it, say it's their side, the lot on their side, the side of their home, and they're interested in purchasing it, but it's not listed, are they able to acquire it?
So we can't sell what we don't own. So what I would say, if there is a vacant property next to you that you don't see on the list, please send us an email, and we can report the property, or just send us an email and we can take a look at it and find out, who does own it. If it's a, city-owned property, we may be able to acquire it, from the city in order, if it's available, in order to put it into a sale.
So there's some people that are really, really like staunch supporters of this land bank, and they're like, I want to know specifically when the land bank is going to launch. Not the land bank, the website is going to launch, and how many properties there are, and what's the price range of the properties. Like, we don't know yet. Just please keep checking back. I don't know what to tell you. So can you answer any of those questions, or did I answer it appropriately?
You did, and I understand that is not the answer that people want to hear with all the anticipation. But we can assure you there's a lot of people in City Hall, at our offices, and beyond, as it relates to some of the government officials that helped get us to this point, and community leaders that helped get us to this point, that are working hard to work towards a end of January launch. We wanted to get out in front of the launch to make sure people had exposure to the website, had an idea of what the policies and procedures would be. But we do know that people are ready to go, having had that exposure. But we promise to continue to come back to the community, even after the launch, but definitely in anticipation of the launch, answering your questions, and also just keeping you updated. So when we do have a specific date, you will all know, and everybody will have the same opportunity to do business with the Newark Land Bank.
It will be worth the wait.
I'm sure it will. So we've gone through quite a few questions, and I just looked at the time. I didn't even realize we were actually over time. So I'm just going to take one more question for the sake of my moderation period, and then we'll have some closing remarks. So are there any special programs if the home is a fixer-upper, or if it is in landmark status?
Roy, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, the first one that comes to mind is through HUD. It's the FHA 203K program. It's a mortgage that's designed to get you to a construction loan in the beginning, and then it converts into a typical 30-year mortgage. So I would look into that immediately. But then there are some mortgage companies that kind of do their own version of that as well. So we can link you to them too. So those are two that come to mind right away.
Okay, and just as a final, now this is a final question that I'm asking. It may not be personal, but I think it bears answering. So if you can give the timeline for, once the land bank launches and, somebody submits or give that process of once they submit interest, what is an earnest deposit? Is it the timeline, please?
So a quick overview of the timeline. A property, once a sale is open on a property, once the sale date is set, we'll accept applications for a period of 15 days. You submit your initial application. When you submit that application, that's when we verify your information. If you are verified and qualified, then what we'll do is that we'll schedule an appointment for you to inspect the property. Because once you go inside the property, you might not want it. So we don't want you to submit an offer for the property. Well, you can't submit an offer for a property that you haven't seen. So once you're qualified, you'll be scheduled for an appointment. If you then want to submit an offer, you'll have a period that you have to have your contractor write up your numbers, get your pre-approval letter, your pre-qualification letter to make sure you have your financing in place, because all of those things will then become due. After that, the applications will be evaluated, a purchaser selected. Once your offer is selected, from the date that we say, hey, Andrea, congratulations, we've accepted your offer, you have 90 days to close. So any final things that you need to do in order to make that happen. But just so that you know that from when you submit the application and we verify the information, so just think of it in like 2-week period of time. You submit an application, in 2 weeks, you'll hear back from us saying whether or not you're qualified or not qualified. Then you have to inspect the property. You may have a week to get us your offer in. Then once we send you the, if you're fortunate enough that we send you a purchase agreement, you'll have to, get it executed, get your attorney and everything in place, because things are going to be, moving along. A sale process, I want to say, from start to finish and looking at it like that, while closing is from the date, 90 days from the date of acceptance, you can look for it to be about 120 days all total. So 4 to 6 months tops.
Okay, that's not bad. I definitely appreciate each of you for being just as experts, so to speak, on this subject matter. I thank you for allowing me to moderate the Q&A session for land banking. And I'm going to turn it right over to Mr. Hall for closing remarks.
I just want to thank Annette for a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Andrea, for moderating the Q&A that I think was extremely informative. Thank Roger, Roy, and Vanessa for all their work and support of this presentation tonight. But first and absolutely foremost, thank you, members of the Newark community, for your interest, your encouraging words, as well as your questions and developmental feedback. We promise to continue to come back to you with more information, with answers to your question, and also with modifications for ideas that came from you that may make this land bank work better for the city of Newark. So thank you all and have a great evening.